Hey, it's Mr. Allred, and we are going to do some practice problems with graphing quadratics. So remember the three things we're looking for: Y-intercepts, X-intercepts, the vertex, and then we're going to graph whatever we get. So the first problem we have here is f of x equals x squared minus 8x plus 10. So very quickly we will find the, let me change this color. We will find the y-intercept by letting x equal 0. And in that case, if we let x equal 0, we plug that into our x squared minus 8x plus 10, and we get the point 0, 10. So I'm going to put that way up here on my graph. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I want to find the x-intercepts. And in that case, I'll let f of x or y equals 0. So in that case, 0 equals x squared minus 8x plus 10. And I could play with this for a little bit and try and factor it, but I do not believe it factors. So I'm going to use the quadratic formula. Negative b will be 8, plus or minus the square root of b squared will be 64, minus 4ac will be minus 40. All that is over 2a, which will be 2. So in carrying this out a little bit, 8 plus or minus the square root of 24, all over 2. I can reduce the square root of 24. It is 2 square roots of 6. So in that regard, I can reduce that to 4 plus or minus the square root of 6 if I'm not mistaken. So I have two exact x-intercepts, 4 plus the square root of 6, 0. And 4 minus the square root of 6, 0. Now I have to graph those. So let's get an approximation from the calculator. 4 plus square root of 6 is about 6 point, let's just say 6.4, since we're rounding off anyway. And the other one, 4 minus the square root of 6, is about 1.6. So we will graph both of those. We'll graph 6.4, which is over here-ish, and 1.6, which is about here-ish. So I'll highlight what I actually graphed there. So I've got 3 points right now. The next thing I want to find is the vertex. I'll come up here where I've got some room. Vertex. And remember that comes from when x equals negative b over 2a. So if we go here, our negative b over 2a will be 8 over 2 or 4. Okay, so the x value of the vertex is 4. Then we come back and the y value is f of 4, which if I plug it in will be 4 squared or 16 minus 8 times 4, so it'll be minus 32 plus 10. Hope I get to stay on the graph here. So I've got 26 minus 32, I think that is minus 6. So let's see here. 26 minus 32. Yes. So my vertex is the point 4, negative 6. And we put that on the graph and start trying to make it work. We should see if it does work. So negative 4 down to, 4 down to negative 6. It does seem to be about halfway between these two x-intercepts, and everything looks like it's going to flow nicely. Let me see if I can turn this to bring it up. something about the orientation of my pad here. Let's try again. I need the marker. So I'm going to try and connect my dots. So up through here on this side with the parabola, just keep going. Sorry, it's kind of wonky there. We know the parabola should be U-shaped. For some reason with the left hand on the pad, drawing up is a little difficult. But that should be a nice U-shape there. Okay. So the big thing to take away from this is even though the X-intercepts we had to use the quadratic formula to get them, and they still had a root in them, they were real numbers because there was a positive number under the root, so they still had X-intercepts. Okay, let's try a second one here. This one is B, G of X equals X squared minus 6X plus 10. So we're going to go through all the same steps. We're going to first find the Y-intercept. And in doing that, we will let X equal 0. So when we plug 0 in, we will get 10. Not what I intended to have the same X-intercept on both, but it worked out. The same Y-intercept. The X-intercept, remember we set the function equal to 0, so 0 equals X squared minus 6X plus 10. This one doesn't look like it factors either. So we'll use the quadratic formula. Negative b will be 6 plus or minus the square root of b squared will be 36 minus 4ac will be minus 40 all over 2a, so that's all over 2. If I clear this up a little bit, 6 plus or minus the square root of negative 4 over 2. So the fact that I have that negative 4 under the root, that's imaginary, so that will mean no X-intercepts. Let me write it correctly. So that's pretty important information because if we think back to what we just had, we just graphed a Y-intercept above the X-axis. So our entire graph must be above the X-axis since I don't have any X-intercepts where it could cross and go below. Okay, so one point right now, let's go for the vertex. So that's X equals negative b over 2a. So negative b, that'll be 6. All over 2a, that'll be 2. So the X coordinate is 3. The Y coordinate is f of 3. So that'll be 9 minus 18 plus 10. So it's like 19 minus 18. That'll be 1. So the coordinate is 3, 1. Let's go plot that. 3, 1. So that 3, 1 is the middle of our U shape. So let's try and pull it up this way to hit our X-intercept. And let's try and mirror it on the other side. That's not the best graph, but get the idea that it's supposed to be U-shaped. Okay, we'll have some more practice problems in the next video.